We must fight the dark side, the empire, the Brooklyn Nets. We must end them. The resistance, the republic is with you all. And welcome to this week's edition of the 48 Minutes Basketball Network. Look, I got a lightsaber at Disney World. I have to use it for some reason, right?
Absolutely.
That's the only way you were going to be able to integrate that into our conversation. But it was absolutely shameless, but whatever.
It was planned the second you bought it. You already know.
I've been trying to just find different less that we're passing out candy, and kids come through dressed as Darth Vader and stuff, and I'm like, to my wife, I'm like, can I go get? She's like, no, just leave it in the house.
Yeah,
no one cares. It's gonna take too long.
No one cares.
It's like, fine. Well, welcome to this week's edition of the 48 Minutes Basketball Network. We've got the rotation fully back tonight as we're waiting for Josh to show up. It's not just two of us or three of us. We got the four-man weave tonight. Myself, Tim Daniel, Sean Mackey, Ben Brown. And if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or wherever, thanks for tuning in. You can see in the top right corner above Sean's head, we got that brand new fancy schmancy logo that we got made. I want to give a big shout out to our guy, Jeff Fields, for making that for us. It looks amazing. The story behind it is we wanted to lean into where we were from and honor the Kentucky Colonels. So I felt like that's the closest way possible you can get a 4 and 8 to look like the classic Colonels logo with the basketball in the C. And I love it.
And I want to go ahead and say this is not a promotion for Pepsi.
No.
I am very anti-Pepsi. So
Same.
So this is the official drink of the 48 Minutes podcast right here. Coca-Cola,
Zero, baby.
Coca-Cola Zero, the elixir of the gods.
Yes.
All
absolutely.
day, baby.
And although I'm wearing the old logo, I do have two of these for each of you guys. I did want to give a quick shout out to my good friend Chad Riley and the Queen City Apparel. Chad was a guy that Ben actually coached football in high school. So Chad made us these nice pullovers so we can represent to get the Queen City Apparel brand out there. So go to Facebook, like their page. Queen City Apparel, pretty easy to find. And they've got a lot of cool stuff out there that they do for a lot of the local schools, high schools, colleges, and so forth. And they were nice enough to make these for us as long as we gave them some pub on the pod. So I'll get your guys to you probably this week. And we can all wear them this week. So
we'll wear them.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely. So without, more shameless plugging of lightsabers and our own logos and brands, let's get into some of the NBA news while we wait for Josh to get on. And obviously we have to start with the brand new spanking news of the Brooklyn Nets. Steve Nash relieved of duties as the head coach of the Nets. They say it was a mutual decision, but that was probably about as mutual as Rocky V being made. So, that's as mutual that went. And Ime Udoka sounds like, according to Woj, in the next 24 to 48 hours will be the new head coach of the Brooklyn Nets.
What are we doing? What are the Brooklyn Nets doing?
Hey, Sean, go ahead. Just go ahead. Let it out.
I mean, Quinn Snyder's, he's still out there, guys. We don't have to panic and hire a guy who, may or may not have sexually, assaulted somebody or, made remarks or whatever. I'm not saying that he did, but he is suspended for a reason. Allegedly, he has been suspended for a reason. Why would you go out and get that guy? There's all these coaches on the market, and you're going to go with that right now. Not to say that he's not a great coach. He got him to the finals last year. That's cool and everything. But this is one of the most bonehead Nets moves, and it is so in line with everything that they do every year. They are a complete and utter clown show right now. I mean, it is so sad. Pretty much everything this organization has done since LeBron hit free agency and went to the Heat. Before that is where this all started. And it has continued to spiral. They had 3 of the best players on the planet last year. They traded one of them for Ben Simmons. And what is he doing there? He just
scoring 6 points a game.
Scoring 6 points a game. We got Kyrie Irving off. promoting
preach, Brother Sean, preach.
promoting films about anti-Semitism. This is, and then you have Kevin Durant, who is probably still a top 2, top 3 NBA player on this island, and now you fire Steve Nash. Like, what are we doing?
And you wonder why. Hey, listen, and you wonder why Kevin Durant wanted out. Like,
yeah,
it's blatantly obvious why he wanted out now.
And he might still want out after the end of all of this.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no question he wants to get out. I mean, the happiest guy in the NBA right now, well, he's not in the NBA anymore, is Steve Nash. Like, without question.
Yes.
Happiest guy right now. No, there's no doubt about it. He is going to go play pickleball somewhere in New York, downtown New York, enjoy the rest of his days. He is the happiest man on the planet right now. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
You're dealing with the Kyrie Irving saga. Ben Simmons airballing layups. He still doesn't want to shoot. You're dealing with that mess. You still have Kevin Durant, like you said, a top 3 player in the world. Yet you sit there at 2-5, and the team is in shambles. You can't tell me once he was like, "Hey man, I think we're gonna go in a different." He's like, "Yep, great. That sounds great. I'll see you guys next week. Yep. Just mail me my check. I'm good. Yep, I'm good." He was out of there as fast as he could. There's no doubt about it. And Durant will be the same way. At some point, they'll find somewhere to move Kevin Durant, because either he'll just stop playing, or he'll be like, "Look, this is and let's put an alleged sex monster as our next head coach, a guy who's been known to smash other people's wives. Let's put him on our bench. Let's do that. Let's just spice it up a little bit. Let's do that. Like that sounds like great sense. Not only are we in shambles and a wreck, now we're gonna put a guy who's an alleged alleged sex offender, aka it's been known that he's been with multiple coaches' wives, on top of cheating on his own wife. Yeah, let's make him our next head coach. You know why? Because we just don't have enough drama. Why not?
We have a guy who was like promoting Alex Jones conversations and does press conferences where he's asked about promoting things Alex Jones has said in the past and saying they're true, while also making sure that he says that he doesn't condone like all this Sandy Hook stuff. And look, we're not this podcast that tries to get into these things, but this is a serious conversation you have to have when you cover basketball. This is a guy who has literally 8 people courtside last night in Brooklyn with Fight Anti-Semitism shirts and yarmulkes on.
And it's only going to get worse.
Yeah. I mean, if you're watching, I was watching the Bulls Nets game tonight for a little bit. And every time he touched the ball, I don't know where it was coming from. It wasn't courtside, but there were fans chanting about all the things that are going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And for once, like Kevin Durant's the guy that's just like got his arms crossed, like,
well,
and we all bash Kevin. Like Kevin Durant don't want to sit. Kevin Durant always wants to trade. Kevin Durant always wants out. Now we kind of look like the bad guy because Kevin Durant was actually right. Like I think he knew exactly what was going on.
Yeah. He's seen what's going on, and also like here's the other thing. I think Steve Nash has 2 more years on his contract. What do they owe him? $16 million. He's one of the highest paid guys in sports right now in terms of coaching, and they are going to pay him that much to walk away from the organization. But I don't know. You wonder how that went down. Did they fire him because of the record, or did he go to management and say, "I don't want to do this anymore"?
Well, the other part of that that's really fascinating is we already, talked about the Udoka stuff, but like the fact that the Celtics were just like, okay, like,
yeah, they didn't even bat an eye.
Like, we don't even want the 2nd round pick. We don't want to make a trade. Just, you can have them. We'll go.
Well, you got to think about how awkward that would be next year after his suspension is over to come back and actually coach that team. I mean, it would be really awkward.
Everybody's going to be hiding their wives.
They should have just lock up your wives. Udoka's in the house.
Yeah. Hey, he's like, I'm gonna move her. I'm gonna shake her, baby. Let's get it popping.
You put me in Brooklyn? Oh man,
Yeah,
let's
you
get to
put me in
Brooklyn.
Shoot, watch out, Jay-Z.
Jay-Z tells Beyonce she's not allowed to sit courtside.
Yeah, she can't. Hey, no more courtside tickets.
We'll be in the box.
You watch from the box, son.
I mean, I don't know where this. I mean, like I said, this team has been rocky for a really long time. But the stuff that it's going on right now with this team, the Ben Simmons trade has been a complete and utter disaster at this point. You can't tell me that
Shoot
James
it, man!
Harden. Yeah,
They're yelling at him on the court to shoot the basketball. My God.
I watched a game with them the other night. It was the Mavericks were playing the Nets, and Ben Simmons made a huge play at the end of regulation. He steals the ball from Luka, takes the ball. Now, if we're going back 4 years ago, Ben Simmons is going full steam ahead and dunking the basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Like, he's going full steam. He stops at the free throw line. And, like, Kevin Durant knows that he's not going to shoot the ball. So he's just waiting. So he goes full steam ahead, grabs it, and then dunks it. But it's like the fact that he is so mentally broken over free throws, and that he is 6'10". He is a steamroller, and he's fast, and he's a good dunker, and you know that's something he usually didn't miss before. Completely deferring to Kevin Durant in the situation where he could have just steamrolled it because he is still so afraid of getting fouled.
Yeah, I saw that Windhorse was like, yeah, he is literally like, there are many scouts that are like telling me that he's afraid to be fouled. That they fully believe he's afraid to be fouled, and like it shows, it totally shows. And like,
you know, and I don't know why. I don't know why. Like it's just, I don't know how you go from being second on the Defensive Player of the Year ballot to what he has become.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It's amazing. I mean, he is going to go down as one of the most frustrating former All-Stars of all time. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it's what I mean. People talk about Nick Anderson's free throw phobia, you know, and how it messed up his career and everything. But like, we look back at Nick Anderson, and Nick Anderson had a great NBA career, you know, and he finished it out and everything. And yeah, he didn't want to. He sucked from the free throw line, but you know, that's not the only thing we remember about Nick Anderson. Like Ben Simmons is going to be remembered for passing up a wide open dunk, not playing for an entire year, and then getting traded, and then pretty much doing the same thing all over again.
Yep. And like, you know, you make the mention of like Penny Hardaway wasn't like he just like quit playing basketball. Like he just couldn't anymore. Like if you watch when he was playing for the Knicks, he still gave it his all.
That's a totally different situation. Totally different.
Yeah, that's apples and oranges, man. Yeah, that's completely different. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't like those guys like Tracy McGrady didn't quit. Like he just like his knees just like
you just could, your knees just gave up. Yeah, there's a difference. Ben Simmons is completely healthy. You know, there's nothing wrong with him physically. He just for some odd reason he has gotten this in his head that he can't make free throws or he can't do whatever. You know, and not to make, you know, of course, not making light of mental health at all.
No,
but
not at
there
all.
is something. There is something there, some kind of mental block where he just can't do it anymore. Which, you know, to see a guy that big and that athletic go from, like you said, Sean, from being an all-star, a guy that, you know, was helping to lead.
He was all NBA.
Yeah, I mean, he was he was legit a top 20 player in the league. I mean, he doesn't even want the ball. Like, doesn't want to touch. He would much rather just go out there and set screens all day. As long as nobody fouls him, he's good. Like, it's weird.
Yeah, and if that's the game he wants to play, then if I'm the Nets, like, fine. You know who will do that for way cheaper? Boogie Cousins. All right.
Yep.
He does. Yep. I'll just go get him. He played pretty well
Yep.
for Denver last year. Like
Yep.
he'll set screens, and I don't
He'll
have to
set
pay him.
screens,
I don't have to pay
and
him
he'll make free
200 mil.
throws.
Yeah. Fine. I'll
Yep.
put Boogie Cousins on here. He'll play. He's played with Durant before.
Yep.
He's won a gold medal with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving before. So
Yep.
we'll roll with it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's just unbelievable. So, I feel like at this point, and we've kind of touched on this, and I'm just trying to keep this conversation going because it's, huge conversation. But at this point, if you're the Nets, like, I feel like your conversation has to be, well, it's time to just kind of blow it up. This failed. This blew up in our faces.
Yep.
And I don't necessarily know if you're going to get someone to trade for Kyrie Irving right now because of everything going on. And I certainly would not want him on my franchise. Like, I'm a quasi.
Kyrie will be stuck. He'll be stuck like John Wall was in Houston. I mean, that's where he'll be.
I don't.
Nobody's going to touch him.
Yeah,
but
like,
you
I'm
can't
a quasi
get
Laker fan, and I don't want him on the Lakers.
Yeah, and
I love the Lakers.
Well,
I don't want the Lakers.
And you got to look at somebody like LeBron James, whose brand means everything to him.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him wanting to be even associated with that anymore.
No, I totally agree. Yeah,
like I think at the beginning of the season he would have taken a waiver, but now I don't think he would touch him.
No, I agree. I think you heard those conversations, those rumblings about Terry Rozier. Like I think that was more like, all right, like all this is going on here. We know this guy's at least going to show up and not ruffle any feathers and piss people off. And if it is, it's on the court. Like, so.
Which you can deal with that.
Right. Exactly. Man, this is just unbelievable. I can't believe this is a real thing that we're having this conversation. Guys, let's just reiterate. Ime Udoka.
Yeah.
Is going to be the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets, who have Kyrie Irving on the team, who is literally everyone in the world dislikes right now. Like, Kyrie Irving and Kanye West just deserve each other, man. Like, those two and Antonio Brown, they're all just perfect for each other. And Kevin Durant, who asked for a trade and is now kind of like, you guys said I was the jerk. I was the bad guy here. Maybe I really wasn't the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And of course now Ben Simmons. And like after that though, it's like they have really likable guys. Like, I'm always going to go to bat for my guy Edmund Sumner. He's played really well in his role for the Nets.
Yep.
TJ Warren should be back for them fairly soon, from what I understand, in the next couple of months.
Claxton's played well for them too.
He's been, I know, Ben. I played against you in fantasy basketball this week, and you kicked my ass with Kevin Durant and Nick Claxton.
Yeah, he's been pretty good.
Yeah. Ben's up 160 points on me on a week-long league after Monday.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's great. Really, really love that. Really love it. Really happy for you, Ben.
I mean, your team is called the Rebuilders, so I mean,
yeah, it is. Yeah,
you're trying. You're playing the long game, baby. You're playing the long game.
Yeah, maybe one of these days I'll actually be able to get good players. So, like Brandon Ingram, I'm all excited. He comes out to start the year. He's like hitting everything. I'm like, this is great. Concussion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right. Jabari Smith, like he's been really fun. Young rookie guy for the Rockets. Meh. You know. Actually, did you guys watch any of the Rockets Clippers game last night?
I did not.
Blown away how the Rockets gave the Clippers everything they had. And literally, if Paul George doesn't go crazy, the Rockets probably win that game.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It was like, I was just so impressed with their young core of guys.
They got a fun team.
They do, man. Team. I like their team a lot.
Yeah, so do I.
There's a couple of teams like that are out there like that. Like you talk about those young teams. The Pacers are one. The Rockets are one. Orlando's still bad, but Benchero's been
awesome.
He's been
so
phenomenal.
Good.
Yeah. There's a lot of young talent out there that's been balling.
I think Orlando, like Jamal Mosley, I think he's like played NBA 2K in the past because I think it was Friday when they played Charlotte. He started Bull at point guard, and I was like, all right, this guy's played some NBA 2K in his day. Like he knows, like, and you know what, guys? Like, I hope everyone held on to their Bull rookie cards because it's funny to look like he's got some stock. And I'm not
like
going to
it.
lie to you. I love it. I am so excited to see Bull playing basketball, playing
I agree.
decent, and also being like the biggest stretch 5 in the history of the world.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited. I really like that team a lot. All right, we got Josh coming in here. Josh, hey, how are you? Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, we can. All right, so we just spent 20 minutes talking about the Nets. So if you want to just add anything real quick before we move to our next conversation, here's the amendment to do so.
It's probably good that I missed that whole segment.
Yeah.
Yeah. It got a little bit hairy, you know what I mean? There may or may not have been some talk about an adulterous coach. You know, Kyrie,
Alex Jones
off the
came
deep
up.
end. Alex Jones. Steve Nash being the happiest man in New York, probably in the NBA. He just made some pickleball appointments because that's all he's going to be doing here for the next 2 years as he gets paid $16 million to sit there and do nothing.
Yeah.
Hey, man, all I'm going to say is that, when this all came out in the beginning and KD was like, it's either me or him. Yeah. The moment
That's what we all said.
KD went back to the Nets, I knew it was a wrap for Steve Nash.
Yeah.
Yep. And Sean Marks. He tried to get Sean Marks removed too. So let's see if that happens. All right, guys. So we kind of had a little bit of conversation a few minutes before Josh came in just about teams that we're really loving. And I want to kind of go through all of them. But I wanted to point out 2 teams particular here for the conversation. Because as you know, I've been very excited about the Cleveland Cavaliers and the moves they've made and everything like that. But right now, currently in the NBA, there are only 2 teams in the whole league that are top 10 in the offensive and defensive efficiency. One of those so happens to be those Cleveland Cavaliers with Donovan Mitchell playing out of his mind. By the way, for the first time since his 2nd year in the league, Donovan Mitchell is currently rated as a plus defender, according to Defensive Blocks Plus Minus. And the Phoenix Suns, who are actually the only team who are in the top 5 in offenses and defensive rating. The Cavaliers are 3rd in defense, 7th in offense. And the Suns, I believe, I have the note up real quick. The Suns are currently number 2 in offense and number 4 in defense. So, look, we know the Bucks are still undefeated, have been outstanding. I mean, played a great game last night against the Pistons team who fought with everything they had. Love that Pistons team. Love Jaden Ivey and Kate Cunningham. So fun.
Mm-hmm. That's another one that's a young, fun team.
You know what's crazy, Tim, as you're talking about that? Cleveland lost their very first game of the season, and they lost by 3. I don't remember what happened, but I remember watching that game like, man, Donovan Mitchell's here. Like, Cleveland's actually playing. And I went into that thinking that Cleveland was going to come out with the win. And then all of a sudden, I kind of clicked back on the game and saw they were down. They're like a possession away from being undefeated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what the best thing was? Friday they played the Knicks. I mean, Sunday they played the Knicks, who we all knew for like months were like, we want Donovan Mitchell. We got to get Donovan Mitchell. And they decided last minute, like, no, we're out. We're going to let the Cavaliers have it. We're not going to make a fight at it. And he just kicked their ass all over the court. And they were like, that there was someone there in the front office. I was like, damn. So,
and Donovan Mitchell, part of him wanted to be in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, absolutely. He did. He was not secret about it either.
Yeah.
Like, he was on Woj.
Get me there.
Yeah, he was on Woj. Like, I thought for sure I was going to be a Knick. Like, I thought for sure I was going to the Knicks. So real quick with these 2 teams, I think a lot of people were kind of out on the Suns as far as not necessarily thinking they weren't a good basketball team, but with all the DeAndre Ayton drama and just kind of like what Golden State was able to do, the teams in the West that really got better, I think a lot of teams were really concerned about the Suns. A lot of fans were kind of counting them out. And, with Cleveland, I think not us, but there's a lot of national people out there who are like, yeah, like they did a lot of great additions to their roster, but are they better than this team and that team? And there's a lot of people who were like, again, not us because we're smart, that said they would rather be the Hawks and the Cavaliers. And Sean and I were like, you're insane.
No, the Cavs are so deep right now. They are so deep. They have so many weapons. And if you are any team in the East right now, you got to be praying that you're not, matching up with them in the first round of the playoffs right now, because they are going to make some noise this year. Like they're like, I am very, very high on this team this year. I think they are going to be really, really good during the season, and I think they're going to be able to carry it into the postseason. Now, Suns, usually a pretty great regular season team. They got to prove it in the playoffs this year. I'm not buying any stock in Phoenix until I see them in the playoffs.
That's fair. That's totally fair. I think for me, like, I think it would be pretty cool. It's cool to see the Cavs do this without LeBron, right? Like, it's cool that, like, finally the post-LeBron era, there's something to be excited about with this franchise. And I think that's great. And also, on top of how well they're playing, they've been without Darius Garland for a week. Like, he hurt his eye.
Yeah.
He's been wearing the Amari Stoudemire goggles in practice. I think he was a full participant in practice today, if I read that correctly. So they're counting on him being back soon. But I legitimately have said that I think the Cavs could be that team that kind of takes that quick step, right? Like the Nuggets or the Hawks in the past. And I think right now you're really seeing that. Evan Mobley has been freaking tremendous. Like Jared Allen has played limited minutes with injury. They're relying on guys like Dean Wade, Kevin Love, old man, gray-haired Kevin Love out there getting 26 the other day. I love this team. I love watching them play.
Well, I think that's what we've talked about all along, right? With teams that are contenders, they have everything that you look for, right? So they've got a superstar, they've got a young front court with Allen and Mobley. They have a deep bench. When you've got guys like Kevin Love, Cedi Osman, Okoro, you got guys like that coming off your bench. So you've got you got a deep bench. You've got a superstar. You've got guys that'll do dirty work. You've got you have a really good front court. You got Garland, who once he gets healthy will be in your back court. I mean, they've got all the ingredients of being a really, really good basketball team. So it doesn't surprise me they are where they are, because Donovan Mitchell, I believe, we've all talked about it. Like he's that next guy, right? Like he's the guy that going into the season we're like, man, that dude's got it. So now you have a guy like that, and then you put all those pieces around him. Like Cleveland is going to make some noise. And Sean, I definitely agree with you. Any team in the East that gets matched up against Cleveland is going to be a nervous wreck, because that team is dangerous.
And they're going to be buyers.
I know that we're only 6-7 games in, but I kind of want you guys to look at his trend last year and his trend this year. So he finished the season last year at 25.9 points per game. So 26. He was shooting 45% from the floor and 35% from three. So not bad for a shooting guard. He shoots high volume. I get it. But this year, he's 32 points per game, also averaging almost 7.5 assists, shooting splits of 45% from three-point range and 50% from the floor. So not only is he scoring more, he's more efficient. And I think that has a lot to do with the guys that are on the floor with him. We talked about how we felt like him and Rudy just didn't mesh because, Donovan's a slasher. He likes to get to the basket. Rudy was in the middle all the time, didn't want to get out. Cleveland doesn't really have a guy that's in the middle. Like even Mobley can step out of the paint and hit some knockdown shots. Yeah. So it gives him lanes to drive. He can dish if he gets stuck. And he looks like he's just playing a lot more free in Cleveland so far than what he ever did in Utah.
I think what I really love about, and I don't know how many Cavs games you guys have been able to watch. Remember, my wife's family is from Cleveland, so they text me about it all, so I have fun talking with them. Yeah. It's kind of like on the break, they don't really necessarily use Mitchell as their point guard, but in the half court, he's kind of their point guard. And I think when Garland comes back, you can still do that, especially with Garland's scoring ability. You look at right now what, we think Atlanta should be with Murray and Trae Young, and Trae Young still is god terrible at playing defense. Last night he just got destroyed and like literally put no effort in against Toronto. It was really irritating, honestly. But like, when Garland is back, like I really feel like in the half court, I think the Bulls do it too. If you watch them in the half court, DeMar DeRozan's the point guard. And I really like what they do with that. And I think that with Cleveland, you can still do that. Josh, you mentioned, Mobley has this ability to step out. There were stretches in his rookie year. He was playing the 2. Like we just talked about Bull playing the 1 for Orlando. Like Evan Mobley, pretty close in stature to Bull, obviously a much better basketball player. So there's a lot of really fun things this team can do. And I just wanted to point that. And look, if you look at the past history, as long as you're top 10 in offense or defense, you're a pretty good title contender, except for this year's Lakers. They're the number 2 defense in the league right now, but they're the 30th offense. We'll get to them later, obviously, like we do every episode, because what else is there to talk about? But
you just shocked me with that one, Tim.
Yeah.
We'll get to it later, but that one hit me. Ooh.
Yeah. Number 2 defense in the league.
To be honest, I mean, if you've watched them play, their defense is actually really good.
Their defense is awesome. Their defense is super good. And we're going to get to that. We'll get
there. We'll get there.
Yeah, but I want to kind of talk about a few other trends and conversations we're having before we get to some somber news in Los Angeles and not about the Lakers. Ha 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 ha. But Ben.
Yeah.
I love Ben Mathurin. Absolutely love him. Dude, loved him at Arizona. Love him even more in the NBA.
Yeah. Dude, he has been everything is advertised. I know that when we talked about it when they drafted him, we were, we were excited about him playing there, but man, he has made an instant impact. His scoring ability, the things he's able to do offensively. Like I talked to you guys before, like I love this young Pacer team. They're not going to get many wins, but man, they play well, and I like that. I like this young core that Carlisle has now with this Pacer team. So it's been fun to watch. Like I said, we knew going into it that the point, or the wins would be limited just because we're so young in spots. But man, it's been fun to watch them kind of grow and watch those young guys play. It's been really cool.
Did you love? I laughed my ass off at this. So Miles Turner was on the Woj pod this week, and he does a conversation where Woj asks him, like, if you're the Lakers, do you make the move? And he's like, if I'm the Lakers, I really think about trading for me with my defensive ability, my rim protecting, my ability to shoot threes, which is not wrong. Yeah. But today he has an interview with the Pacers where he's like, oh yeah, I think I could really fit in a rebuild with Mathurin and Halliburton. It was like, PR got to you, didn't they? PR.
Yep, they sure did. You already know.
On our group text, you heard me. If it wasn't for Banchero, like Mathurin's might be rookie of the year. Like and they're bringing him off the bench, and he's like coming in. And I remember them interviewing him, and he said that he thought he was the best player in the draft. I know a lot of guys say that, but like you could tell when he said it that he meant it. Like he meant that he thought that he actually thought that.
Yeah, he's played really well in Halliburton. God, I love Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, man.
Duarte. Duarte. Buddy Hield's been good. I just like their team. I do wish though that we would go ahead and move Miles Turner and go ahead and do the complete rebuild. I mean,
rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid. You're right, Sean. Just rip the Band-Aid off. Go ahead and trade him. Either get picks or another young player or prospect. I would like that and go ahead and get our rebuild fully done. Not a hate on Miles Turner. I mean, he's been great for the franchise, but yeah, if we're gonna do it, let's go ahead and get him moved. Get another Rick Carlisle guy in here, and let's really start making that move towards rebuilding.
I know when we were doing our fantasy draft, Tim had me all super hyped, man, about Halliburton being the first pick because we have keepers, and I was like, yeah, it's going to be an easy pick. And then we get to the draft and like, he's not even on the board. And I was like, man, what's going on? Like Halliburton's supposed to be the first pick. And I'm like, that's my guy.
Yeah. Then you took my guy and we aren't friends anymore because of it.
Who did you take? Who did you take from him, Josh?
Palo.
I took
Palo
Oh,
Ranchero, boy.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. Still upset about it, but I still like you. So I won't withhold your sweet pullover from Queen City Apparel. Don't worry.
Tell you what, it actually looks good on screen, man.
Yeah,
does.
it's short sleeve too, so that part's
It's
kind of
awesome.
nice. So it's like a shooting shirt, basically.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. So I just kind of thought about this. I want to keep this conversation going because these are teams we've talked about before we get into more the bigger topics. So Sean, if you remember a couple weeks ago, we talked about the Sixers and we went full on believe this is a good team. I still am buying my Sixers stock. Still really believe in them.
Yeah.
But if you remember, I asked you, I said, do you think we'll get to a point where Tyrese Maxey? Ooh, take a drink, Tim. Is Tyrese Maxey the second best player in the Sixers? And you said not yet. Do you believe he is now? Because I think he is. He is.
Okay. I'm not gonna give him that yet. We're close. We're very close.
Dude, he's shooting 45% from three. Like.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm kind of the Philadelphia 76ers, just like a lot of teams right now, are just kind of a roller coaster.
I think they have another move in them. I think they're gonna get, dude. They're gonna make something else.
They should just trade, James Harden for Kevin Durant.
I was more thinking
Let's
like
do it.
Jordan. I was more thinking like getting Jordan Clarkson from Utah, but yeah, that works too.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Jordan Clarkson. Ooh.
Yeah, Clarkson's going back to LA.
That would be nice. Yeah, that would be nice.
With Kyrie?
No, you missed that conversation.
No,
we went through that.
He's not going anywhere. He's going to be on an island by himself.
Yeah,
Kyrie is an island among himself.
He's going to be like,
nobody messes with the Kyrie.
Kyrie is a dumpster fire right now.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
he's going to be on the Nets all alone.
You know who's not a dumpster fire right now? Lauri freaking Markkanen.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sean and I talked about that last week.
Yeah, we were like, it's real nice that things are working out for him now.
Yeah, I know,
He's
right?
figured it out now.
Don't get too hyped, Jazz fans. He's gonna slip on his sock or something, and then he's gonna be out for like 3 months. So have fun.
I looked
enjoy it while you can. And I'm not
first team All NBA. Here it comes.
I'm not late.
Buy it, Sean. First team All NBA. Lauri
Markkanen. Utah, Portland, Western Conference Finals.
Shaden Sharp is tremendous, by the way. I knew he was good from his high school stuff, but obviously like the whole Kentucky thing, I was like, I don't know if it's gonna like his body's gonna be ready for the NBA. I was a fool. He is tremendous. I freaking love him. Yeah, I think that's a lot of fun. So I don't know, Josh, any team you particularly want to mention some trends about before we move to our next topic, or you want to go ahead and go to topic 3?
No, not unless you guys want to talk kind of off topic of basketball and talk about that Halloween night Monday Night Football game.
We're good, bud. We're good.
Yeah. Next segment.
This is an NBA podcast, Josh.
Yeah, how'd you guys look against the Eagles, by the way? So Kawhi Leonard. All right, talk about people who know show.
See how I led into that? Nice. That's a nice transition.
Notice in my headline I said he is still hurt. Oh, no. Too quick.
Oh, yeah, hey.
So Kawhi Leonard is now going to miss 7 of the first 9 games for the Clippers this year because he's not going on the Texas road trip. Kawhi Leonard has now missed 111 Clippers games, counting these 7 of 9. The 2 games he did play, he came off the bench and looked so-so. Let's be honest here. And I know that someone is going to be like, well, they just want to have him for the playoffs. Like, if I'm paying somebody $200 million, he's playing.
They're not going to make the playoffs.
The way, dude,
If
Paul George has got to be like 2017 LeBron right now. Like
Yes,
that's how
yes,
we're
he
winning
does.
games. Like
yeah, and that's fine, but he's gonna run out of steam at some point. Like I
Yes.
don't put stock in Paul George to carry the Clippers the entire season. I just don't. He's a great basketball player. He's so good, and he cares, and he's a great player. But I don't see it, man.
Guys, this story has
he's
been
got his 15
yeah.
games. He's got his 15 games he's gonna miss at some point.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this story has been seen before. Unfortunately, because Kawhi Leonard is a wonderful talent, but his knee is shot.
Yeah.
I mean it, and I hate to say that, and I hate to hear that, but his knee's shot. So,
I agree.
He'll play 40 games. Paul George will play probably 70, 65. They'll finish probably in the 8 or 9 spot, the play-in spot. But I think that we're at a spot here where we've got to come to the realization that Kawhi's knee is shot, and they've got to try to juice as much out of that guy because you're paying him a whole lot of money. And you got to try to get as much out of him as you can. And the only way you can do that is to pray you make the playoff with the guys you have and play Kawhi like 45 games. And then hopefully he doesn't get hurt in the playoffs.
You didn't
And
know
by
that
the
was
way,
playing already?
By the way, I've said this the whole season. John Wall has sucked. He has legitimately sucked. So I told everyone that would happen. And everyone's like, no, but the Clippers are so talented. Like, no, he has sucked. All right, go ahead, Josh.
Oh no. So kind of what you guys see with Kawhi right now, not being able to get back on the court. We all know that rehabbing and then getting out on the floor and playing NBA game speed basketball are two totally different things.
For sure.
I also think we're kind of seeing a little bit of a regression right now with Klay Thompson as well.
Yeah.
He went through a season. He came back. He was kind of hyped. Maybe some adrenaline pushed him through, and now he's struggling a little bit. I truly believe that those injuries like that, especially in basketball, you're on the hardwood, the wear and tear on the knee. It's a lot different than football or some of these other sports. I really think that like your knees take the most of the pounding in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that he's done. I don't think Kawhi's done. I think that he needs probably this year to get out on the floor and try to get his legs back underneath him before we ever see any type of what we think he's going to be. I think that's what we're seeing with Klay right now. I think Klay got out on the floor last year. He played, I don't know, half a season maybe a little less. Played in the playoffs. You could start to see it. I think it's the same with John Wall. I know John Wall was sitting. I think it's going to take a while for him to get his legs back underneath him. I compare this very similar to.
He doesn't have any legs, Lieutenant Dan.
This is going to be a weird.
Very
It's going
nice.
to be a weird comparison.
It's
going to be a weird comparison because this guy was not hurt. But remember when MJ came back and he played those last 17 games of the season and then went into the playoffs, and we were like, man, MJ's back. Bulls are about to, go for another title. And then they ran into that Orlando series and we just watched his legs kind of give out from underneath him. I think with these guys, it's going to take them a lot longer to get their legs underneath them. I really do. I'm not giving up on Kawhi yet. I'm not giving up on John Wall yet. I really think that those guys just need to be out there. They need to get their legs underneath them. They need to play some games. They need to strengthen up their legs and get a little bit of the endurance in there in order to see what they can or can't do.
Yeah, I understand that to an extent, but man, I just think that Kawhi has been out. He missed all of last season,
all of last year.
So he missed all of
the playoffs and then missed all of last year.
And now he's like, you had a whole year to rehab. You had a whole summer to continue to rehab, and your body's not responding. Like, and I get it, like the Michael Jordan thing, I understand that, and he wasn't hurt, and he had to get his legs underneath of him. But if Jordan had been training in basketball and not playing baseball that whole year, and then he was like, "Oh man, no, I can't play these last games," then it would be a little bit different. But Kawhi has been training and been out for a year plus.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
only
so
been
But
one
now
guy.
he can't even stand on that. He can't. He came off the bench and still is missing 7 of 9 games and doesn't go on a road trip already. They're 7 games in. Like I think
maybe
that
he wasn't even
doesn't go
ready
back
to
to
come
San
back.
Antonio.
Yeah, to not go back to San Antonio.
Yeah, no vengeful. He's like Carson Wentzing right now, where Carson Wentz is out for the Eagles and Colts games for the Commanders. Like,
I really want you all to think about this. So ACL tears in basketball, Achilles tears in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
oh, I get it.
2 guys. There's 2 guys I can think of off the top of my head that I've ever seen come back from these injuries and even be their old self or just remotely a part of what they used to be. Dominique, when he came back in the 90s when he got hurt, and Kevin Durant. And
That's
nobody else.
Yeah.
Nobody else. And
Yeah.
Ben, I was actually going to throw you as like, I wanted to use this as an analogy. Remember last year when Saquon Barkley came back after he tore his ACL? Think about how he was last year. He had that whole season, and he was like, it was almost like he didn't trust himself. And he was like, I'm not myself. Like I need to, and then look at him this year. And that's kind of what I'm kind of looking at. I'm like, look at him now this year. He's the guy that we used to see his rookie year before he got hurt. And like I said, I don't want to give up on the guys yet. Maybe Kawhi came back too early. Maybe he wasn't ready.
I would be more lenient towards Kawhi if it wasn't the fact that, like, he had the year with San Antonio where he only played 9 games. The year
Was
with
that
the
the same
Raptors,
leg?
Yeah.
that year with the Raptors, he only played like 50 games. I mean, I know they won the title and everything, but like it wasn't like he was fully healthy, like fully available all the time.
But
And
he was healthy.
hurt.
No.
He was
hurt in
healthy.
the finals. Yeah, he was hurt in the finals, and like, still won MVP and was awesome.
That's
in the
what
finals,
they tell us.
but-
They tell us he was hurt.
Right. But like, yeah, it's hard, man. Like, it's just hard because of everything. And like, I'm with Ben. I don't know if there was a better 2-way player in that stretch that he was like perfectly healthy than him. There was just nothing like what he was able to do. Just like that steal he got off Jimmy Butler, where he's like not even paying attention to the ball and just snags it like on a bounce pass, was amazing. And Butler might be the closest to him, honestly, as far as 2-way, just insane intensity.
Yeah.
Like, but who has been relished actually surprisingly well in their role off the bench? Fine. We'll talk about it. Russell Westbrook has like
It's fine.
actually.
It's fine.
Russell Westbrook has actually been good so much that Sunday he got a standing ovation by the Crypto Arena faithful. Like, literally, they were like, "All right, man, this is cool." So I mentioned earlier, obviously everything about the Los Angeles Lakers struggles have been there. Josh and I bantered about it back and forth. This team is really, really good defensively. Really
Yeah,
good.
I was shocked by that stat, Tim. I really was.
They're the number 2 defensive team in the league right now, which is
wild.
not right behind Milwaukee, who is undefeated. But they're they're the only team in the NBA offensively that their offensive rating is not triple digits. Like that's how rough it's been. And like they played tremendous against Denver. Like, I don't know what just clicked that night for them. I don't think they have many of those games in them by any means, but what Russ was able to do in that game was great. Coming off the bench, 8 of 16, hit a couple threes, 18 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, kind of like what you want to see from him in a nutshell, and only playing 32 minutes. So like had like less time to have stupid plays, and just looked quicker off the bench and looked more rested. I'm not saying that I'm like here going to be like Russell Westbrook, 6th man of the year, but we got to give credit where credit's due. We're pretty quick to terrorize and like talk bad about what he's done in LA. So like, I think he kind of deserves some credit for what he's been able to do.
The only way I can describe the Lakers, and for those out there who like these moments in movies, the only way I can describe the Lakers shooting is Philip Seymour Hoffman in Along Came Polly. When when he's out there
Wow.
with Ben Stiller and he's like, "Let it rain," and like, that's literally how they're shooting right now. And they were good. They were better this last game. I think they shot 30-something% from 3-point range. But before that, I mean, dude, they couldn't hit. I don't even know how to explain how bad they were shooting. I mean,
26% from three as a team.
well, yeah, I'm saying, but like as a team, it was like when they shot it, like you just knew it wasn't going in. Like you were like, well, that's not going in. Like you're not even hopeful that it's going to go in. Like that's how bad they were shooting. And now it seemed like they're starting to knock a couple shots down, and they beat a good Denver Nuggets team to get their first win. And I was watching that game, and Denver was up on them for a while, and the Lakers kind of hit the switch, and they went back. But they went back to playing the style of ball that they did when they was in the bubble. Like AD started bodying people in the lane, and he was down low, and he was doing stuff. And like you said, Russ came off the bench and still played 31 minutes. If you can still get your minutes coming off the bench and your role's different, and you're in there at different times of the game, and you let him do what he did, it worked. So like Ham said he was going to do that from the get-go and yet didn't do it. And then he finally did it 6 games in, and you see the result, and you're like, well, maybe you guys should have did that from day one.
Here's what's like really funny. So if you look at the box score from that game compared to the first 5 or so games, they 1,000% treated that like a playoff game. They were like shrunk their rotation to 7 guys and were like, we're playing with these guys. Like Kendrick Nunn played 3 minutes. Damian Jones played like 2 minutes, but it was -6 in 2 minutes. That's amazing. Like they were like, all right, AD, you're going to play the 5. You're going to be the guy that's on Jokic, and we're going to win this way. And I know AD's kind of gotten some shit from like Stephen A. Smith from people, but honestly, I've liked how he's played this year. I haven't liked the 3-point shooting, obviously, but he's been really good attacking the rim. He's getting rebounds. He's blocking shots. Like he looks like what you want him to be 10 years into his career.
And that's what he needs to be right now. But the biggest, and I'm going to harp on it, and we're going to go back. The biggest thing for him is going to be just staying on the court. If he can just stay on the court and do his thing, they're going to be in great shape. I mean, they'll be not in great shape, but they're going to be in some sort of serviceable shape where they'll actually be competitive. But without him, I don't see them doing anything.
Yeah, I agree. And I will ask this about Russ. So, we've talked quite a bit about, there's no way anyone's going to trade for him. And I'm still kind of in that boat. But seeing him play this role that he's played these last couple of games where, I know they lost to Minnesota and his shooting numbers weren't that good. But if you watch the game, like he was really good in crunch time. He was guarding Anthony Edwards at stretches down this at the end of the game. And not bad either. But like, if you're a team and are you more okay seeing him strive in this role, potentially taking on that chance on an expiring contract?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird question.
That is a weird question.
It's tough. I'm kind of dumbfounded by it. I don't know. I think at this point,
Sean had to take off the glasses.
It got real serious.
It got real. It just got real.
I don't think anybody is untradeable this season besides Kyrie Irving. And I typically wouldn't even say Kyrie Irving is untradeable, but I do actually think he's untradeable right now. Russell Westbrook
LeBron
is still worth something. So what? Oh, well,
LeBron
yeah,
cannot be traded.
Hey,
but that's a different situation. That's a different situation.
In the words of the great poet, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, everybody's got a price.
No,
Even
literally.
LeBron.
With the extension, they
can't trade him. They can't trade him.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying. But I'm saying anybody there's besides somebody who cannot be traded because of a new contract because of that terminology. But anyone can get traded in the NBA typically. I mean, do you remember when Gilbert Arenas had the gun thing and everybody's like, his contract at the time was just astronomical. It was crazy. And they're like, it's untradeable. And he got traded to Orlando. Everybody thought he was untradeable. And it was, I don't think Russell Westbrook is untradeable by any stretch. He's expiring. You're going to get some draft picks for it. And there's a lot of rumors of where he could end up. He's definitely not ending up out in Brooklyn. I don't think that's happening. I don't think it's happening. But, a team who's maybe collecting some assets, like one, controlled by a former Boston Celtic GM, I could see him being very interested in something like that. Or, and here's a fun one. The Oklahoma City Thunder.
That's where I thought you were going to go with that.
Yeah. That's a fun one. And I don't know what you do at the end of the season after he goes back, because they can kind of sell it as a homecoming for a little while. I mean, no one's going to care. They're completely in tank mode right now, and give me all your draft picks. And I don't blame them. They have the biggest prospect out there floating around this offseason. So, I don't know. If I were a betting man, I really do feel like Russell Westbrook, even with his recent change in play, I feel like this is a blip, and we're going to be looking back on this in a couple weeks, Tim, and we're going to be like, yep, he's got to go.
I kind of wish he never would have left Washington.
Oh yeah. He was kind of fun there.
Yeah, he was.
He was. Yeah, he was killing it over there, man.
But look, I know that it's 6 games. I know it's a small sample size, and this can get changed at the drop of a dime. I mean, it really can. But the other side of this is, talking about LeBron, there's some things that I've seen, these last, 4 or 5 games that's kind of been alarming. And a lot of that is his shooting and his play. So he's shooting the most shot attempts he's ever shot in his career.
Wow.
He's shooting 22 shots a game. He's shooting the lowest field goal percentage that he's shot since his rookie year. And he's turning the ball over at the highest clip that he ever has in his career. Now, he's still averaging 25, almost 26 points a game. But at his age right now, playing the minutes that he's playing, all right, he's playing 36 minutes a game. Like, how long can LeBron sustain what we've been known to see his efficiency of his career? Because right now, what I feel like we got right now is the high volume LeBron, and he's not a high volume guy. And his high volume is showing us that when you put the ball in his hands at that much, and you ask him to do that and try to score that much with as many shots, like, he can't do it at the efficiency that he was doing it this whole career.
I agree. Yeah.
So that's got to change at some point.
It's time that they finally say what they've been wanting to do for 3 years. It's time that they, and I know this is health permitting, like Sean made the point earlier. It's time to run your offense through Anthony Davis. It's just, you're at that point now. And that's not a dig on LeBron James. I think even he has made conversations that he's like, it's time we kind of make that transition. He was willing to do it for Kyrie in Cleveland before all that stuff fell apart. So yeah, I agree with you, Josh. I do think if they can get more shooters, like they've kind of been talked about like forever, that's going to get better for them. Or he's just in a hurry to break the scoring record. That could be it too. Like just playing full on Antoine Davis of University of Detroit Mercy, just throwing 36 shots a game up is a possibility. But
get it done.
Yeah. Antoine Davis is on pace to potentially break Pete Maravich's all-time scoring record in NCAA basketball this year, and he shoots every time he touches the ball at half court. So, go to the NKU Detroit Mercy game this year, you might see history.
This is the bad part about it, is that, like you said, everybody's getting on AD. Like, he's shooting 54% from the field. Like, it's not like he's out there. I mean, granted, he's not shooting the 3 ball very well, but
he doesn't have to.
You get him inside the 3, he's money.
Yeah.
And he's almost 11 rebounds a game. So you got a guy going 24 and 11, right? Like, it's time to take that and say, you know what? We can get more out of you. Let's go ahead and do that.
And he's guarding. So he guarded Jokic. He guarded Cat. Probably tomorrow he's probably guarding Zion, right? In the Pelicans game. So, he's kind of taking on the responsibility there. I think they win tomorrow. Honestly, I think that without Brandon Ingram, I don't think New Orleans just has the same gear. So I think they might get 2 in a row.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So real quick before we get out of here, I want to bring this up because I know we texted about it recently. The NBA.com, they do the ladder every week as far as like the award predictions. So right now their MVP ladder to start the year. And a lot of names that we thought would be there, like Giannis and Luka, but how about Pascal Siakam and DeMar DeRozan being 4 and 5? DeMar has been tremendous. Any questions about could he do it again? So far, he's answered the question. Pascal Siakam has been unreal for Toronto, man. Like him and Scotty Barnes together really work. They work really well together. I was kind of shocked by it. Shout out my guy Christian Coloco up there doing big things. Loved him in college. So happy to see him doing well.
How does Toronto just always have a good roster every year, man? Like they just get rid of guys, and then like the next thing you know, their roster is still good, and then they get rid of guys, and then their roster is still good.
They have a great GM.
Yeah. And
that's
they make smart free agency moves too. Like it's not like they just blow tons of money on people. They just get guys that just fit exactly what they need.
I know for me, I wasn't on the pod. I didn't get to jump on the pod with you guys when you talked about this, and I texted it to you. But for me, and I know it's repetitive, but right now, like I don't think anybody's playing better than Giannis.
Yeah.
I think Giannis, the first 6 games in, I mean, both sides of the floor, taking games over when he needs to. I know they probably are like, we don't want to give it to Giannis. We don't want to give it to Joker. Like we want somebody else. That's probably why you see Josh sitting up there at number 1 right now on the NBA.com ladder.
He's more exciting.
I don't know if anybody's playing better than Giannis right now. And if I did have to pick somebody else, it would be Luka.
Yeah, Luka's been unreal. God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw Paolo Banchero in there. I think he's been pretty tremendous. I'm kidding. But I love seeing what DeMar's doing. I mean, right now they were just down 13 in the third quarter, and they're tied with Brooklyn. Actually, they just got down 2. DeRozan's got 20 so far. By the way, absolutely love what Ayo Dosunmu has done in the absence of Lonzo Ball. Just got to make sure I throw that. Any Ayo praise, I have to make sure I get it out there before.
He's been fantastic. I mean, they've been a very frustrating team for me this year. I mean, so far it's been very frustrating, but he is filled in nicely. So
yeah, a couple other guys we need to mention. I don't think we can leave out. We already talked about Donovan Mitchell, but Jason Tatum and Damian Lillard, how he's came back and just kind of
sucks he's hurt again.
Up. He is, and Devin Booker the last few games. I think he's taken some stuff a little personal, and you can see it. Definitely guys that I feel that could easily jump up in that mix, and this will look a lot different halfway through the season. Once we get, 30, 40 games under the belt and kind of see where teams are going to be at. But, you always got to throw guys up there. LeBron, I mean, I hate to say it, but like LeBron is still 26, 8 and 8. KD is averaging, 32 and whatever out in Brooklyn. And like, there's always going to be those guys that are up there. But I think what we're starting to see is that true passing of the torch of these younger guys starting to step up. And Sean and I talked a lot about Jason Tatum, and like we feel like he took that step already to ascend towards that superstar status. And he looks like he ain't playing no games in Boston.
Yeah. Joe Mazzulla might really be the right guy for that job. Like he really might have unlocked even more of Jason Tatum. So it's got to be pretty impressive.
There's a lot of people still thinks it's Brad Stevens calling the shots from the top.
It probably is. Let's be real here. But yeah, man, I think with that being said, we can wrap this up. I know we've gone pretty long here, but there was a lot to talk about. Really, really good episode. Had a lot of fun today. Thanks to everyone tuning in, whether you were on any of the socials. We definitely appreciate it. Also, please take a moment with our brand new sexy ass logo that you see here in the corner.
Man, it is sexy too.
Sexy ass.
Yeah. Go to 48minutesbasketballnetwork.merchmake.com where you can buy some solid merchandise with that new said logo. Gonna go ahead and bring this up right there. Yeah, you see it there. That's the link. And you gotta get some cool stuff, t-shirts, sweatshirts, backpacks. Yeah, that's on there now. So show us some love. I definitely appreciate it. If you are on some sort of podcast app of choice and can leave a 5-star review, please do so. We need to beat the algorithm. And then also take a couple seconds if you're watching this on YouTube and just hit the subscribe button so you're up to date on every episode we do. On behalf of the guys, the 4-man rotation was here tonight. We had a lot of fun. Thank you all, and we'll be back soon.